Christmas dinner at my parents' house was a masterclass in passive aggression. The turkey was perfect, the decorations immaculate, and the judgment suffocating. Brandon got another promotion, Mom announced proudly, passing the cranberry sauce. Senior Director of Operations. That's 6 promotions in 8 years at Henderson Manufacturing. My older brother Brandon grinned from across the table. 7 actually. I was promoted to operations manager first, remember? 7. Mom clutched her pearls. That's what dedication looks like. Real career advancement at a real company. Dad nodded approvingly. Henderson Manufacturing has been around for 60 years. That's stability. That's building something that lasts. The implication hung heavy. Unlike some people at this table. How's your thing going, Taylor? Aunt Sharon asked with forced politeness. It's going well, I said simply. Taylor does something with apps, Mom explained to Brandon's new girlfriend. Or websites. We're honestly not sure. She works from home on her laptop. Tech consulting, I clarified. Software solutions for businesses. It's been 10 years now? Dad cut his turkey with unnecessary force. 10 years of this phase. When are you going to settle down and get a real job? I have a real job. You have a hobby that occasionally pays bills, Dad corrected. Brandon works for Henderson Manufacturing, a Fortune 1000 company with 12,000 employees worldwide. That's a real job with real security. Brandon leaned back smugly. The benefits alone at Henderson are incredible. Full health coverage for 401k matching stock options. Plus I get to work on actual manufacturing operations, tangible products, real supply chains. Not invisible internet stuff. When will you get a real job like your brother? Mom's voice sharpened. You're 35, Taylor. Still living in that tiny apartment, driving that old car. Meanwhile, Brandon just bought a house with a pool. The tiny apartment was a downtown loft I owned outright for $940,000. The old car was a 2019 Tesla Model 3. But they'd never asked, never visited, never shown any interest in my actual life. I'm doing fine, Mom. Fine isn't thriving, she said. Brandon is thriving. You're just existing. Pretending that laptop work is a career. Henderson Manufacturing is actually looking for IT support staff, Brandon offered with false helpfulness. Entry level, but it's a foot in the door. I could put in a word for you. Maybe $45,000 to start. $45,000. My company's quarterly revenue was $340 million. I appreciate the offer, I said evenly. You should take it, Dad insisted. Real job, real company, real future. This tech fantasy has gone on long enough. I checked my phone under the table. My CFO. Acquisition approved by board. Henderson Manufacturing closes January 3rd. Legal docs ready for signature. I texted back. Perfect timing. Taylor. Mom snapped. Phone away. This is family time. You're always on that thing, always distracted. This is why you can't succeed. No focus, no discipline. Sorry, I pocketed it. This is exactly what I mean, Dad said to the table at large. No boundaries. No professionalism. Brandon knows when it's work time and when it's family time. That's maturity. Brandon nodded. Henderson has strict policies about work-life balance. They respect personal time. That's what real companies do. They value their employees. Speaking of Henderson, I said carefully, how's the company doing financially? Dad's face lit up. This was his favorite topic. He'd worked at Henderson for 32 years before retiring last year. Fantastic. Best quarter in 5 years. The new CEO is brilliant, really turning things around. They just announced a major investment deal that'll fund expansion. What kind of investment deal? I asked. Private equity, Brandon said proudly. A tech investment firm is buying controlling interest. Henderson gets capital for modernization and expansion. We're going to double our manufacturing capacity. Which firm? Brandon shrugged. Some tech company. Apex Strategic Holdings or something. The announcement goes out officially next week, but employees got the memo yesterday. It's going to revolutionize Henderson's operations. Apex Strategic Holdings. My holding company. The one I'd built over 10 years from nothing. Sounds impressive, I managed. It's going to be incredible, Brandon continued enthusiastically. The new owners are apparently massive in the tech space. They're bringing in cutting-edge automation, AI-driven logistics, the whole 9 yards. I might even get another promotion when the restructuring happens. Mom beamed. See, Taylor? This is what happens at real companies. Growth, opportunity, advancement. Not stagnation. My company's growing, I said quietly. Dad laughed. Sweetheart, I'm sure your little tech thing brings in some income. But Brandon's talking about a Fortune 1000 company with real infrastructure, real assets, real value. That's a different universe from whatever you're doing on your laptop. Henderson's valued at around $2.8 billion, Brandon added. That's the kind of scale real businesses operate at. I took a sip of water. Actually, Henderson's current valuation is $1.9 billion. Apex is acquiring at $2.1 billion, a premium to help push the deal through. The table went quiet. How do you know that? Brandon asked slowly. The deal terms aren't public yet, Dad said, frowning. Those numbers aren't released until next week's announcement. I pulled out my phone and opened the acquisition documents. Because I've been reviewing the contracts for 3 months. What are you talking about? Mom's voice had an edge of panic. I turned my phone screen toward them. Apex Strategic Holdings is acquiring Henderson Manufacturing for $2.1 billion. The deal closes January 3rd. I'm the founder and CEO of Apex. The silence was deafening. Brandon's face had gone white. That's not possible. You don't run an investment firm. You do freelance coding or whatever. I built Apex 10 years ago, I said calmly. We focus on acquiring traditional manufacturing companies and modernizing them with AI and automation. Henderson is our 14th acquisition. Dad grabbed my phone, staring at the screen. This is real. These are actual legal documents. Filed with the SEC last month. Goes public January 2nd, the day before the deal closes. You're saying... Mom's hand shook. You're saying you own the company that's buying Henderson. 68% of Apex, yes. When the Henderson deal closes, I'll effectively own Henderson Manufacturing. Brandon looked like he might be sick. You're going to be my boss. My sister, who I thought was unemployed, is going to own the company I work for. Not exactly, I said. Apex operates through appointed management. I won't be involved in Henderson's day-to-day operations. But the restructuring, Brandon's voice cracked. The promotions, the changes. Those decisions go through your company. Through our operational team, yes. Dad was scrolling through the documents on my phone, his face cycling through emotions. It says here Apex Strategic Holdings has 14 companies under management. Combined revenue of $4.7 billion. Taylor, this is massive. Last year was $4.7 billion, I corrected gently. This year we're projecting $6.2 billion with the Henderson acquisition. Aunt Sharon made a strangled sound. $6 billion? Taylor runs a $6 billion company. I built it, I said. Started with one small manufacturing company in Ohio that was going bankrupt. Bought it for $3 million, modernized it, made it profitable. Used those profits to acquire the next company. Then the next. 10 years later, here we are. Mom was crying now. But you never told us you were successful. I told you I was running a company. You called it a phase. I told you I was acquiring businesses. You asked when I'd get a real job. I told you I was expanding operations. You compared me to Brandon's real career. Brandon found his voice. The memo said our new owners were visionary tech leaders transforming traditional manufacturing. That's you. That's my team. I focus on acquisition strategy and modernization planning. We have 847 employees across our portfolio companies. Dad was still reading. It says here you started this with a $3 million loan you somehow secured at 25 years old. How did you even? I coded a supply chain optimization algorithm that I licensed to 3 major companies. Made $4 million in 18 months. Used $3 million to buy the Ohio plant. Invested the rest back into technology development. $4 million, Dad repeated numbly. You made $4 million and never told us? I mentioned it at Thanksgiving 8 years ago. You were talking about Brandon's new car and didn't hear me. Mom grabbed the phone, scrolling frantically. There are articles here. Forbes, Bloomberg, The Wall Street Journal. They're all about you. Taylor Morgan, the silent titan of manufacturing transformation. How one woman revolutionized industrial America. Taylor, you're famous. I'm private, I corrected. I don't do many interviews. The business speaks for itself. Brandon's girlfriend was reading over his shoulder. It says you're worth $2.9 billion personally. Brandon, your sister is a billionaire. Almost $3 billion, I clarified. Depending on how Henderson's stock performs post-acquisition. Uncle Ray spoke for the first time. You've been sitting here for 10 years listening to us tell you to get a real job, while you were building a $3 billion empire? Yes. Why didn't you tell us? Mom demanded. Why did you let us think you were failing? I didn't let you think anything. You assumed. Every time I tried to explain my work, you dismissed it. You decided my success was impossible, so you refused to see it. Brandon was reading the restructuring plans. It says here Apex's standard practice is to evaluate all senior management for efficiency and performance. That's me. You're going to evaluate whether I keep my job. The operations team will evaluate, I said. Based on performance metrics, leadership effectiveness and strategic vision. But ultimately you approve the decisions. Yes. His voice dropped to a whisper. I've spent 8 years bragging about my career. 8 years putting you down for not having a real job. And now you own the company I work for. 7 promotions in 8 years, I said quietly. That's actually concerning from an operational perspective. It suggests either inflated titles or poor succession planning. Our team will want to understand the rationale behind that promotion velocity. Brandon's face went gray. Dad set down his fork with shaking hands. I worked at Henderson for 32 years. I just retired last year with a pension and stock options. You're saying my former company is now owned by my daughter, the one I thought was wasting her life. Yes. The pension, is it safe? Apex honors all existing employee contracts and benefits. Your pension is secure, Dad. His relief was visible. Then another emotion crossed his face. But you could have cancelled it. You had the power to destroy everything I worked for. I could have, I agreed. But I'm not interested in revenge. I'm interested in building profitable companies. Mom was still scrolling through articles. It says here you've been named one of the top 50 most influential people in American manufacturing. That you've saved over 4,000 jobs through your acquisitions and modernizations. That you're revolutionizing how traditional industries adapt to technology. The work speaks for itself, I said. There's a quote from the Commerce Secretary. Mom read aloud. She says you're an American success story. Proof that innovation and tradition can coexist profitably. Brandon pushed back from the table. I need air. He walked onto the back patio. Through the window I could see him pacing, running his hands through his hair. Dad was reading the Henderson acquisition analysis. It says here you identified Henderson as an acquisition target because of operational inefficiencies masked by market position and legacy reputation. That's brutal. It's honest. Henderson has coasted on its reputation for 15 years while competitors have modernized. The company needs significant operational restructuring to remain competitive. And you're going to do that restructuring. My team will handle it, I said. Mom spoke softly. What happens to the employees? People like Brandon? Those who adapt and show real leadership will do well, I said. Those who resist change or were promoted too fast will struggle. Brandon appeared in the doorway. You think I was promoted too fast, don't you? 7 promotions in 8 years. You think I'm not qualified? I think quick promotions often mean politics, not skill, I said carefully. But the evaluation team will decide, not me. You could protect me, he said. Tell them to keep me. I could. But that would make the process unfair. If I protect you, I can't fire others. That's not how restructuring works. So you'll just let them fire me? I'll let them judge you fairly. If you're good, you'll stay. If your promotions were based on connections, you'll have to prove yourself. Dad stood up angrily. You're talking like he's just another worker. At Henderson he is, I said. That's business. You taught me that. Remember when I was 16 and wanted a job there? You said no special treatment. That was different. How? You didn't help me then. Why should I help Brandon now? Mom began crying. You've changed. Success made you cold. Success made me clear, I said. You spent 10 years saying I was failing. You praised Brandon and ignored me. Now things are reversed and you want favoritism. Dad's voice cracked. We're your family. You should care. I do care. That's why I sat through years of judgment and still came to dinner. Even when you made me feel worthless. Aunt Sharon asked softly, Taylor, what do you want from them? Nothing, I said, standing. I don't need your approval or belief anymore. I built Apex without your help. Your opinions stopped mattering years ago. Mom asked, where are you going? We haven't had dessert. I have a call with Henderson CEO in an hour, I said. Brandon will get an official email Monday about the acquisition and staff review. Assessments start in February. Dad's voice shook. Don't leave like this. Like what? You ignored my work for 10 years. Now you finally understand what I do. That changes nothing. I walked toward the door. Your brother might lose his job because of you. Mom cried. Only if he's not good enough, I said. That's on him, not me. You could save him. I could, but then I'd be just like you. Protecting comfort instead of truth. You taught me better than that. I walked out into the cold night. The deal closed on January 3rd. Evaluations began in February. Brandon survived but was demoted to manager. To fit him better. He didn't talk to me for 6 months. My parents tried reaching out. I declined politely. They'd had years to see me. Now I didn't need to be seen. In March, Forbes ran a story. Taylor Morgan, the billionaire nobody knew was there. Dad called. I'm proud of you. I always knew you'd make it. No, you didn't, I said. But thanks anyway. Mom sent a card, we love you no matter what. Even when we don't understand. I kept it but didn't reply. Brandon finally texted, I get it now. Why you never told us. We deserved to feel stupid. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Either way, it didn't matter anymore.